So, in this special episode, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Jordan Eaton of Boss Assistants. Now, Jordan and her team are a big reason why this podcast even exists. She's my support team to get this podcast edited and launched and published, and I thank her for that. But more importantly, with this episode, you're going to hear Jordan's ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And inside of that, there will be some golden nuggets, some insights and takeaways for you. So, listen for them, take notes, and enjoy. Hi, I'm Marshall Stern, and I've spent over 35 years leading and growing multiple small businesses. I know firsthand the struggles of entrepreneurship, feeling isolated, lonely, overwhelmed, and feeling like you have to do it all by yourself. I've been through multiple recessions, and I have felt the highs and the lows. I've been there, and I get it. This podcast is here to change that. Every week, I will bring you straight talking advice, real-world strategies, and honest conversations about what it takes to succeed in business without the fluff, the gimmicks, or the sugarcoating. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress, then you are in the right place. This is the Stern Truth. All right, welcome back everyone to another episode of the Stern Truth Business Unfiltered. And today I have an amazing guest that I all want you to get to know. Jordan, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And I really want people to grab a piece of paper and a pen or your laptop or notebook, whatever. I want you to pay attention though, and the show notes will be in below here. Tell us a little bit about your business and about who Jordan is.
So I started my business about 3 years ago. We're boss assistants. So we are helping other business owners and small businesses in North America to manage their time and have a life first business is what I like to call it. So business ownership is hard and there's so much to it. You're balancing everything, you're wearing all the hats and you're working long hours. It's really hard for your mental health and it's really easy to get burnt out. And so we help business owners with their back end, their administration, but we also help them with gaining visibility. So we have visibility assistance, as we call it, and we focus on organic marketing. So social media, we do some outreach on over email. We do some lead generation. We help them with their LinkedIn presence. So all that kind of stuff to help them build their brand
And podcast.
and podcasting.
Yes. So for those of you watching or listening, Jordan and her amazing team are my resource. So here's a quick story for everyone listening, because goes into really the benefit, or not the benefit, it is a benefit, but the power of outsourcing. And Jordan, you know this because we've spoken many times. I procrastinate. I had a podcast about 10 years ago, which I did for a few months, and then I stopped. And I was doing it all myself. I was editing it. I was trying to edit it, publishing it, and all this stuff. And then a couple years ago, I wanted to relaunch, but I knew the one thing was holding me back, which there's something that always holds us back in our business until we realize what it is. And I wasn't sure what it was. And I kept saying, it's interesting because episode number 6, I think we did, is all about, or yeah, episode 6, I will when, right? And I kept
Mhm.
saying, I will launch it when. And then I kept saying, this year I'm going to launch it. This year I'm going to relaunch podcast. And it wasn't until we started talking one day, and I didn't know that was a service that you were offering, that I thought, you know what? That's what I need. I need someone on
Mhm.
the other end. I could do this. I could do the recording, but after that, it's just so much work. And for someone who does it and has a team who does it, it's just so much easier and allows me to focus on the things I love doing, which is like connecting with people and talking. But I don't want to be sitting there editing and adding music and scheduling. And so I brought you guys on, and it's been amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, we're really happy to help. The podcast management is great, but also we help people get onto other people's podcasts as a guest, which is a great
Yeah.
way of accessing, a new audience, and it works out. So
And that's stage 2 for you and me. We're
mm.
going to go with that too. Okay. So 3 years, you said you've had your business?
Yeah, it's a little bit over 3 years now. So March. So now it's April.
So I'm going to ask this question. Who is Jordan outside of
Hmm.
boss assistants? Who are you?
Outside of boss assistants, I am a mom of two little ones.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been a very interesting journey to balance motherhood and balance having my own business, which I actually decided to start my business on a whim. I have 15 years experience as an administrative assistant. I've worked with VPs, CEOs, business owners, realtors, entrepreneurs, and I just saw that they were struggling. I've helped them. I've come into the most chaotic businesses and they had no SOPs, they had no systems, they had no filing, they had nothing. And I loved transforming businesses back in the day when I was working in office, and I would just come
Hmm.
in and there's a mess everywhere. There's papers, and I would just organize and make everything great and create all these SOPs, all these systems, processes. So I had all that experience, and then I decided one day, especially with COVID, everybody starting to work from home, and I thought, what's better than being able to be at home with my children and run a business from my laptop. It's the best of both worlds. So I decided to start my 100% remote business, and I just decided on a whim, and here I am.
And the stern truth is, it's easy, right? I mean, you got the laptop, you can be on a beach, your kids can be
Right.
playing in the water, and it's easy, right? Everyone should do it. It's just simple. No problems ever. It's just no
Yeah,
bar.
everyone thinks that it's just super, super easy. Oh, I'll just start a business. And I knew that there was going to be some hiccups and there was going to be, things that I have to figure out that I'm not sure about, but I really did not know it's going to be this difficult. So I'm learning every step of the way, and it's been an amazing journey so far.
So share with me a little bit about and I call it the struggle of the juggle, right? Um, and I've seen you with your kids. I mean, you're an amazing mom.
Thank you. I
You're
try.
you're a rock star mom, right? You're a rock star mom, or maybe
Sometimes
pop.
I feel like it.
Sometimes it might feel like more like a country music, but no, but you're a really good mom, and you're a really good business owner and leader for your business. But it hasn't always been that way with your business. Like it's taken. Tell me some of the. I want to hear some of your tips for sure, like the good stuff, like what you would recommend other business owners who are like feeling the struggle, the juggle, and the overwhelm. But for you, what have been some of the challenges?
Mm, I wonder, are you asking about the challenges in just managing the day to day, or managing the team, or managing,
Yes,
like,
yes,
what do you,
yes.
yeah,
All
so
of
all of
it.
it?
All of
Okay.
it. The juggling act.
The juggling act, yeah. Um, the first thing I did was get stuff off my plate that I really, really did not enjoy doing, or that I was putting off. So my bookkeeping, the first year in business, like, didn't do any of it because I was like, okay, I'll do it on the weekend or I'll do it later. And that later never came. And so I was like, okay, this is not how you run a business. The bookkeeping needs to be done. So I hired someone. That was my first hire. I didn't have the know-how. I didn't want to take the time to actually learn how to do it. And I just thought, my time is better spent doing things I enjoy, building the business, managing the team, finding clients, which is one of my favorite things, is, sales calls, problem solving, outreach. I do all the outreach for my own business. I really enjoy that aspect of it. So why would I be sitting and
Mhm.
managing books when it's completely draining, and I can't stand it.
And it energizes, like we talked about the energy audit, right? And it actually energizes some people.
Mhm.
There are some people, as strange as they may be to us, they actually enjoy the numbers. They enjoy the books. That's their thing,
Yeah.
right? What drains them is like social media. What drains them
Yeah.
is possibly the other stuff which you can help them with. But they're good at the numbers. They're good at the books. Okay.
Mhm.
I love it that you said that you said, and I wrote it down, that later never came.
Mhm.
I want to sit with that for a moment because I think a lot of people, our listeners, if you're some of them have been in business for several years, some are newer in business. The ones especially that are newer in business, I want them to really hear that. And it goes back to like the episode we just did, I will when. It's the same thing. That later never came. And we
Mhm.
don't want to wait too long because if you had waited too long, we probably wouldn't be here, you and I talking like this right now. Right.
Yeah.
What about the personal stuff, the personal side? You're a mom. You have two young, amazing young kids.
Mhm.
The juggling of it. They get sick. You have to cancel calls. You got to do this, or you had to, if you didn't have, if it's just you by yourself in your business, you had to do, right? You had to juggle it all,
Mhm.
or you had to do the calls with them in the background in the other room sick. How do you do it all? Like, how do you manage that without losing your, mind? For lack of a easier word, better word.
I mean, I try not to lose my mind. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but I do delegate to my team as much as possible. Like I lean
Yeah.
on them. I couldn't be where we wouldn't be where we are today if I didn't have my amazing team. So, you know, I like I said, I have my bookkeeper, I have an executive assistant, I have people that are helping me with clients and all that good stuff. So, we have a group effort and we're all working
Mhm.
towards the same goal. So, I mean, if it was just me, I couldn't do it, honestly.
No, yeah, no, and I love that. And like you and I have worked together for quite some time before the podcasting and everything. And I've seen you grow as a business leader. What do you do in those dark times when let's say you lose a client or a client threatens to leave, or they're not happy, or an employee or whatnot? I mean, listen, I've been in business for a long time. I mean, it happens. It happens to the best of us. It doesn't matter how good you are in business, it's going to happen. So what do
Yeah.
you do when you're starting to maybe doubt this is what you should be doing, or you're just frustrated and overwhelmed? Do you have someone to turn
Yeah.
to? Like, what do you do?
So those times do come. They happen, sometimes you'll be like, why did I even start this business? Or you'll get to that place where you're like, can I even do this? Can I pull through? The best thing, there's two things. So one of the best ones is detach from the situation, detach from the outcome. Especially if you're doing like a sales call, don't be like, this has to work, I have to get this sale. Just be detached, like, I'm here, I'm helping someone out, come from a place of wanting to help, not to sell. You want to, okay, I want to help you with your business. I want to help you grow your business. If you can't if you don't want to move forward with us, that's okay. Then we're not a fit. If a client wants to cancel on you, we weren't a fit. So it's just business and you can't really let your emotions get in the way. And then the second one is to lean on people, and you have been like a really great support system for me. Like there's been times where, I'm struggling so hard and I have to reach out. Sometimes I'll message you and be like, okay, can we like talk for 5 minutes? Because if not,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna spiral. But, just leaning on great people, having your support system, having those key people that you can really lean on when times get tough, even to just chat, sometimes just letting things out, just venting, just having someone to have an ear to listen, it makes a world of a difference because entrepreneurship can get lonely. Not everyone understands, not everyone
No.
can be an entrepreneur, not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. So if you have friends that are entrepreneurs, which luckily I do have a few, we have chats, we lean on each other, we help each other with ideas, bounce ideas off each other, and help support. So I think you have to build a good network of people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm all about that. That's 100%. Business, entrepreneurship is lonely. Someone once said they called it, we talked about this before we pressed record, entrepreneur shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like that, right? It feels like entrepreneur shit.
When you're
Uh,
starting out, it can be quite tough, but there comes a time when you find that groove, you find that,
yeah.
and you're like, okay, I do got this actually. Like it's starting to work, it's starting to go well. So
Well, it's a cycle though, right? When you first
Yeah.
start, and if anyone's like just new, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because when you're starting out, it's like the honeymoon period, right? It's like everything's great. I tell the story, I did my books the first year and I actually enjoyed it. I'd go in, I didn't have kids, I'd go in on the weekend for my sign company and I would just do it. I would spend all day doing something that someone could do in like 2 hours
Mm.
because that wasn't my thing. But I thought this is my baby. It's just because I didn't have kids. I'm so excited. I love doing it. As the year went on, it started to get to be more of a drain. I'd rather the weather was nice. I wanted to go golfing, go out hiking. I don't hike. So I just said that for people to think I hike. But golfing, yes. And then finally my accountant sat down with me and fired me
Mm.
as not as a client, as my bookkeeper. He says, "You're fired as the bookkeeper. We're getting you a bookkeeper," because my books were a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and
Um,
you don't have the leeway to be making those mistakes with the books, especially it's so
yeah,
important. Like it could cost you money in the end, or you get the CRA comes after you and does an audit or something. Like you just those things you want to leave to to professionals, to people who are experts. Like that's how I think of it. It's an investment. It's not. I'm not
so,
wasting money. I'm investing money in someone that knows what they're doing, and it could cost me more in the long run if I
yeah,
don't.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
100%. Um, What happens when so you have a team because if you're under the weather, if you're not feeling it, things don't just stop for your clients.
Yeah. You can't run a business if it depends on you. If you can't take a day away, if you can't take a vacation, that's not really a business. It's just a glorified job.
Yeah. Yeah. You're perfect for this podcast because this is all about these are the stern truths. And when you're starting out, like I was saying, when you start out, everything's wonderful. It's that honeymoon period. Then it gets to the be so it's entrepreneurship in its glory, right? This is what I signed up for. But then it goes into at times entrepreneurship. It feels like that. And it's like, what the hell did I do? And so many
There's
start in, sorry,
I was
continue.
just gonna say there's a time when you get to a level. So yeah, you start off, you're like, this is my baby. I have to do everything. Like there's no other way that anyone can ever do this. Like they just don't know.
Mhm.
But then as time goes on, you get to the next level where it's like, okay, I can find someone to do this. And it's almost like a mindset shift. You have
Yeah.
to learn to let go. A lot of people that start entrepreneurship are like a type A personality. They know exactly what they want, when they want it, like perfection. Like just it's hard not to let go. But you have to do that to get to the next level.
Yeah. If you want to get to the next level, I mean, some people are fine, having that sort of employee mindset, having the job,
Mm,
right? Especially with COVID, a lot of people um, either lost their job or decided they had that sort of aha moment, like so many people did. I'm going to go for to business for myself, and they're okay having that job and just doing their skill set by
yeah.
themselves. But then it doesn't grow, and then they take it with them on their vacation. They got their laptop and they're working 24/7.
Then you're not having a life first business. You're having a lifestyle business, but it's running you. You're not running it.
Yeah, and for I mean, and for some people, honestly, they're okay with that. So I'm not, if you're watching or listening, I'm not saying you have to outsource, you have to build a team. If you're fine the way it is, making the income and everything is fine the way it is, it's okay. That
Yeah.
as long as it works for you. But if you do want it to grow, if you do want to if you want it to be sustainable, especially because let's face it, we all want time off.
Yeah. The most important thing is the mental health, the burnout
Yeah.
aspect of it. I'm such a huge, huge supporter of the balancing of life. Like you need to have time for your hobbies, what you enjoy doing,
Mhm.
family, friends. Like you need to have time for all that stuff, and burning yourself out is just not the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And a lot of people wait too long, right? What is it? I said the I will when, and then it becomes too late, or the later that later never comes, and it's too late. Like once you get to burnout, like serious burnout,
Mm,
it's not so easy to come back. I mean, you can come back from it, but let's try to avoid. And that's why someone as amazing as you and the Boss Assistance team are out there because you can help people avoid the
it's sneaky.
burnout. Yeah,
It snuck up on me in my first year. Yeah, it
yeah,
it took me a full year to get there, and then it's taken me, twice as long, 2 years to get out. So I think I'm finally at the end of the tunnel, but, it gets to the point where your body just is like, "Nope."
Yeah.
Starts rebelling against you.
One question I like to ask everyone is, well, and actually I want to go back for a second because you said sometimes you like for yourself, sometimes like if we've chatted, you've just needed to lean on me or your friends just to chat, right? And we have scheduled coaching sessions and whatnot, but sometimes you just need a chat. So that's why we've implemented once a month. We're doing this Thursday, what do I call it? Business therapy Thursday,
Mm,
once a month, right? These sessions, because a client once said, this feels like a business therapy session to me, right? And it really was. And sometimes people just need entrepreneurs because we're alone in our business. We just need to talk to someone who gets it.
yeah.
And without, I mean, as a coach, like there's never judgment from me, anyways. Just like with you, with your clients, there's never judgment. But some people, sometimes we just need to chat with someone who actually gets it and have them listen, as
Yeah.
opposed to trying to fix it all the time.
Sometimes I feel like you're my therapist too. You have to talk me off the
Go
ledge sometimes because 'cause I'm
talk up
like,
the
"Oh,
ledge.
I'm just gonna burn the whole thing down," but
You
then
need
but
to
it's a stage, and then I'm like, "Okay, like, I'm not gonna do that. I was just," it was just a moment, but, yeah,
go through
usually,
it.
yeah, I get through it always, so I
Yeah,
know I know there's always gonna be the up after the down.
yeah, but you need, yeah, but at least you need to talk through it as opposed to staying in your own head. So
Mhm.
I think next time from now on, maybe we should have done a session on your sofa. Maybe you lay down on the sofa. We could have a real therapy session.
Yeah.
Tell me about your childhood, Jordan. Um, so what do you? So yeah, going back to one of the questions I love asking my guests. What do you think separates those who struggle, right, from those not necessarily succeed, but from those who don't? What do you think separates the two? People who are constantly struggling, constantly in the sort of scarcity, negativity mindset from those who actually are going after it and actually achieving what they want to achieve. They might not be there yet, okay, but they're on the path.
Yeah, yeah. To get on that path, I think it's really a mindset shift, like I mentioned. So you have to detach yourself from the situation, from the outcome. You have to have your goals, but you don't have to be so hard on yourself. Like if you don't hit that goal, it's like, okay, I'm pushing myself towards it. I know I'm on the journey. I know I'm on the path. I know I'm going in the right direction, but just, you have to, yeah, you have to have that mindset shift, and then also looking at things from a different lens of, okay, this is not an expense. I'm actually investing in this. Like my bookkeeper was an investment. Some people think, oh, it's so much money. Like, why would I pay someone to do that? But it's like they're not looking at what is the time that you're wasting to learn? What is the time you're wasting to sit there and take double the time it would take someone who's an expert who does it all the time? Like they know what they're doing, but you necessarily, and you might make mistakes. So that is going to cost money if you make a mistake and you end up owing, you were supposed to owe them 2,000 but you paid them 4,000 because you made a mistake. Like it's just all those things. You have to look at it an something that's helping you, as opposed to, oh, I'm just paying this money for nothing. It's the mindset that it takes to get to that point, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No,
that's
I
my
yeah,
view.
that's your stern truth. Um, so going back to the struggle of the juggle, because there probably are, I'm going to guess there's some women listening or dads, men. So women meaning moms, sorry, moms listening, or some maybe dads listening, who are the primary caregiver of their children, young children,
Hmm.
and they're trying to do this business thing. What are some of the challenges with that, and what do you see as some of the solutions?
So the challenges are that they're only young ones. I think of it as, I want to spend as much time with them as possible. So, sometimes I have to tell myself, okay, this can wait. This business thing can wait, because they want to play a game with me, or we need to do homework, or, so I focus my time around, okay, like when they're at school, this is my time where I'm getting down to business. I'm doing all the things I need to do. When they're at home, I have that time blocked out. Even in my calendar, I have blocked out, this is the time I'm dropping them off at school. This is the time I'm picking them up. This is the time they're doing activities. Like, it's blocked off in my calendar so that no one can book anything. And I am making sure that I'm actually putting that time, like, it's almost like I'm booking my meeting with them, like
Yeah.
I'm scheduling them in my calendar. So, everything I do, I schedule into my calendar. Everything is a meeting. Like, even my lunch is in my calendar,
Yeah.
as it's scheduled in there, so no one can tell me that they're gonna try and schedule over my lunch. Like, no, I'm taking lunch.
And,
So,
and and no, I love that you said that. And that's all about time blocking intentionally. 'Cause
yeah,
I do the same thing, and with my clients, I really encourage them to try it. Some of them push back on having the structure, but if you have, the whole point of it is exactly what you said, blocking off the time so other people can't take that from you,
yeah,
right? And
and it's in there, and it's there.
it's there. Yeah,
Yeah,
even the me time, which could be lunch, it could be going for a walk, could be going to the gym, could be reading a book, but no one can have that precious time. And I recommend to everyone, even a me time aside from lunch, because we all need to eat. A lot of people don't. So you block off time for that. But even throughout the day, like even a 15-minute block, just because some people I'll go into a session with and just like a discovery session, I just meet them and they're like Zoom meetings back to back to back
yeah.
all day long with no breaks. And they wonder why they're exhausted.
That is just, yeah, I can't do too many meetings, and I make sure that I have my days where we don't take meetings. So Mondays and Fridays are not for client meetings. And then certain times, only
Mhm.
allowed these times, and then have to take a break in between because, yeah, it could be exhausting sitting there meeting after meeting, especially if it's on Zoom. I don't know why it's so draining, but it just is. And definitely, you need to be taking those breaks, getting up, walking around. I have a client who actually has walk scheduled like every day in their,
Yeah,
this is when I'm taking my walk, scheduled in their calendar. So, yeah, making sure that you're setting aside the time and actually taking it.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, 100%. It's so important. And honestly, and we do the one with my clients, the energy audit, which is really something you could probably get, you could give the same thing to your potential clients because it really
Mm,
is leading them to working with either outsourcing to someone like you and boss assistants or empowering their team more if they have employees, or bringing on employees if that works for them, if they need full-time employees versus outsourcing, because
yeah.
there's a benefit to both depending on what stage you're at with your business, for sure.
Yeah. I've done
Right.
your energy audit. I really enjoyed it.
And it's helpful, right? Because
Yeah.
some people are like, holy crap, I didn't realize what really it does drain me. And it's not just about the activities that drain. And if anyone's interested, just reach out to me and we'll put you through one. It's very simple, but it's also the people that drain us,
Hmm.
and the things that drain us. For example, let's say the news. If you're what I had a friend of mine who watched news all the time, and it was always, well, even during the pandemic, right? I remember
Yeah.
when the pandemic first happened, that I think it was a weekend in April. I was watching the news constantly to see what was happening. And I wondered why that weekend I was so down. Well, if you're focusing on the world ending, right, constantly, which it was back then, or halted, and who knows what was happening, but people were dying and all that,
Hmm.
that's where your mind, you're feeding yourself the negative.
Oh yeah, that was a very stressful time. Like, it got to the point where I couldn't even watch the news because I'm like, it's just gonna be something bad.
Yeah, because we were excited when there was less people dying and less people infected, right? And that's what it
Yeah.
was. So it was all negative. Now with wars and politics, governments and stuff, which
Mm.
we're not going there.
No, no,
Because
I'm good.
that's draining in itself. Okay.
Yeah.
What would be, to wrap things up, what would be your new business owner, someone in business for a while, what would you be your sort of golden nugget? There's a lot of pressure I'm putting on you. Kind of advice for someone watching, listening.
I think just to look within and find out, okay, why am I doing this? What's my why? What are my goals? So, am I trying to have more time with my family? Am I trying to travel? Am I trying to help people? Like what exactly are your goals? And I love doing this when I actually have sales calls with people because I'm like, why are you like why did you come to us? Like what exactly are you trying to achieve? Like are you trying to grow your business? Are you like some people don't want to grow their business. Some people don't want to take vacations, but some people, they want to add more hours because they want to help more people. They're
Mhm.
just driven by, wanting to help or wanting to, change people's lives and things like that. So it's like you really have to dig deep and find out what exactly it is. Some people just want to have more free time and sit at a cafe or, so it really depends on what you went into business for. A lot of times we all have different guiding reasons of why we've started and where we're going and what we see. Some people want a huge global business and they want to have 100 people on their team and so if you're not clear about that from the start, it's really going to affect how you go through the journey because you want to start off. A lot of people when you're starting out, yeah, you're small, but if you're wanting to have this huge company, you're going to want to start with a really solid foundation. So you want to get those SOPs as soon as possible. You want to start delegating as soon as possible. You want to get systems, processes, automations. If it's just going to be you and you just want to have your lifestyle business, you just want a little bit more free time, you don't have to have as much of a stable foundation because it's just you. So getting clear on your vision, is I think the most important thing.
You're
You're
like
writing
doing
stuff down.
well, because no, because you know what you're this is all we talk is everything we talk about, right?
Yeah.
You could do my job. I mean, it is all about seriously, like it is all about getting clear on the why,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going to go to that in a second before we wrap up, and the what, which is the vision. So the why is kind of the mission, right?
Mhm.
So if for our listeners, if you go back to episode 7, which just as we record this just dropped, with Polly, that's our first business therapy session, business therapy Thursday session. Uh, she kind of, I don't want to give it all away, but the why was an enlightening moment for her during our conversation.
Mm, very cool.
So just a quick Coles Notes update on what happened. And then I want people to go, should I tell? Okay. So she had a why. She thought her why was something, but she forgot. Her life had changed in recent
Mhm.
years with starting a family. And so she thought her why, she thought she was clear on her why. "Oh, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing my business." But she forgot exactly what you said. She forgot why she started. And that's huge.
Mhm.
Now,
But
our
also
what
it can change too throughout your journey, I
the
think.
why,
Yeah.
yes, but yes, absolutely, it will evolve, especially if you have kids or whatever happens in your life, right? And it'll evolve as you grow as a business owner, for sure. But you cannot forget the reason you started,
Yeah.
right? The why as to why you get up every morning now might be this, but sometimes we forget why we started, and we're so myopic in our like today thinking, right? So if your why is working for you now, great.
Mhm.
But if something is missing, because we all get caught up, we have kids, they go into different stages of life, whatever happens in our life, tragedies and stuff and everything. But so if you forget the why of why you started, that might be a missing piece.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important to take time for rest and breaks because
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
best ideas come to me, my best thinking is when I I take a few days off, I go sit on a beach somewhere or I go into nature or, just have quiet peace, turn off my laptop, turn off my phone and just think and like sometimes you realize that what you actually thought isn't really what you thought, or you have different ideas, or, things come to you. So you need to have that quiet time and that time to look inwards. So I
Yeah.
think it's super important.
Perfect. Well, this has been amazing. I'm going to put, you can say it yourself as well, but I'm going to put your contact info in the show notes. But if
Mhm.
people don't want to scroll down and look, because that drains them, how could, what's the easiest way for them to get in touch with you?
So our website is bossassistants.com, and I hang out on LinkedIn. So if they want to connect with me, I think my LinkedIn profile is my name, Jordan, and then dash Eaton. So yeah,
Dash Eden. Okay.
yeah,
Jordan Dash Eden. Thank you so much for being a guest. And thank you for everything you've done for me with my business and the podcast. Um, this is just the beginning. We're going to be doing this for a very long time. So I thank you. And I thank you for being a guest and all
yeah. I can't wait till the podcast blows up.
the podcast is in a good way, please, in a good way.
No, like it's gonna be, yeah, I think it's great that you have so much tips and support for, business owners to listen in and learn. So
No, no, thank you. And a lot of them actually, you gave a lot of those same sort of stern truths today. So it just, it's great. I've actually relearned a lot of things too, just listening to you today. Sometimes you
oh,
forget certain things.
nice.
So
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Uh, my pleasure. And for everyone, I would love, okay, here I have to do my little podcast thing, right? If you enjoyed this time, actually, whether you enjoyed it or not, subscribe, like, comment, even if you didn't like it, but you did like it. But I do want to hear your thoughts and your feedback from this episode with Jordan. And if there's something that you want to add to what she said, I want to hear your golden nuggets, your takeaways from this episode. And yes, please share, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you next time on The Stern Truth. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Stern Truth. If you found today's episode helpful, we would love to hear from you. Please like, share, and leave us a review. Also, if you'd like to be a guest in an upcoming episode or join us in one of our Momentum Accountability Group sessions, simply email me to marshall@marshallstern.net. That's marshallstern.net. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep pushing forward and leading with confidence.